Good morning, my name is Mariana Tosta.
My name is Grace Sigler.
My name is Alejandro Borges.
My name is Glenn Knox.
My name is Beto.
And my name is Ivana Sakaras. Let's start by asking the question, to what extent can investment and innovation in Lake Nona transform the issue of urban sprawl over the next 25 years? Well, over the next 25 years, we should expect Lake Nona to develop a smart growth community. This will not only help Lake Nona slow down, but may also prevent the negative impacts that come from urban sprawl. What exactly is urban sprawl? Well, according to an article by John P. Rafferty, urban sprawl is the geographic extent of towns and cities. As you can see here, we all started the green belt. We build it more and more, and we become a city center. Well, urban sprawl is the desire for increased living space. So we tend to build more into the green belt, leaving less in natural areas. This can cause air pollution, energy consumption, reduction in water quality, and much more. But there are ways to prevent this.
As we all know, Lake Nona was once nothing and is now something. And because of this, it was because of the investing group of the Tavis Scott. They helped transform Lake Nona to what we know now. Orlando ranks 7th in the U.S. for economic growth. But with this growth comes complications such as wilderness, tearing down the wilderness, increased traffic, and more pollution. Tying this all back to urban sprawl, it has helped tremendously grow over the next 25 years. The U.S. spends roughly $1 trillion on urban sprawl.
Now, let's talk about the impacts of urban sprawl. I want to present a solution proposed by my group and I, which is to invest in the creation of transit villages. Now, what a transit village is a community based solely around a form of transportation, which is usually a train. Now, this is an image from the West Palm Beach Post, and this is just a concept of what a transit village should look like. As you can see, there's a train station, and condos, as well as many retail centers that will be down here, all within walking distance of each other, ultimately to get rid of a problem in urban sprawl of increased traffic, but ultimately to get rid of the problem of environmental issues with more growth, the population, more cars would be in the area, creating air pollution, which will be a problem environmentally.
Another idea is the input of eco-villages within Lake Nona. Eco-villages preserve nature while living in an environmental-friendly way for the people. It helps the environment by concerning vehicles, farming, electricity, and the average carbon footprint. With the growth in these communities, the environment will be better in Lake Nona, along with the people's lives in Lake Nona being affected by the economy, along with the environment. We will have cleaner environment, and as you can see by this pie graph, the annual energy rate is mainly affected by household AC units and other household appliances. By adding eco-villages, it will reduce the use in energy, along with making the economy go down and more affordable for the people of Lake Nona.
Although the previous solutions have some good concepts and ideas, there's some better solutions and there's some problems with these too. So as you can see, the vast majority of people drive to work alone in their car, which means very few take the bus or walk. So at first, Makai's idea about the transit villages seemed like a good idea, but it's not true because of this. This is a graph of the transportation fuel usage in the USA. This puts driving cars alone third of the most inefficient ways of traveling. It's right above city buses and about half of subways, which is what he was talking about. This both accounts for the city bus, which has an average of 9 people that take the bus, and the average of 33 people that take a subway. If people simply carpooled, then the efficiency would double and it'd be way above buses and equal the efficiency of subways. So a cheap and simple solution instead of that would just be carpooling, and that would debunk his whole argument. And then secondly, for eco-villages, this is a picture of what Lake Nona should look like and is planned to look like in the next few years. So, as you can see, it's very packed and very filled, and developing a whole new eco-village means establishing a whole new way of life, and there's simply no room for this in Lake Nona's plans. And this way of life isn't for everybody, and it's simply too late to start over in Lake Nona.
The final solution proposed by our group is the development of Lake Nona as a smart growth community. Smart growth communities are an approach to development that directs urban growth in different ways, such as enhancing the quality of life, promoting economic development, creating livable communities, promoting alternative transportation, creating a range of housing opportunities, and preserving open space, natural resources, and in the environment. We wanted to choose this solution for Lake Nona because there are already many of its properties that are already in development here. For example, one of the properties of smart growth is having walkable communities, which can be seen in Lake Nona in places such as Oria Park and Eagle Creek. Another thing is the preservation of natural environments. It can be seen in Lake Nona as in Moss Park. And also the development of compact housing, such as the Land and Homes apartments, which can all be seen. And also the development focused specifically on a specific area, such as Medical City, which can be seen here. And there's Moss Park and the walking community in Lordy Park. And here is the Land and House apartments. With investment and development in these areas, plus the integration of other aspects of smart growth that Lake Nona lacks right now, such as convenient transit and urban growth boundaries, Lake Nona could efficiently decrease the negative impacts of urban sprawl and become a more sustainable community. While this seems like a good proposal, there are also some who argue that this would not be good because smart growth tends to have a risk to increase traffic. But by including convenient transit, Lake Nona can attempt to solve this issue, and therefore it won't necessarily be a problem here. What questions may you have?
And maybe back up a little bit because we're showing it to you guys. Thank you. I'll just move the camera as we go through. Makai, you're first. Describe an argument from one of your peers' individual reports that made you think differently about your team's solution or conclusion.
Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Sure. Describe an argument from one of their reports, one of their papers, that made you think differently about your team's solution.
Well, with Alejandro's argument on economics, we wanted to take account the numbers for everything, like how much it would cost to make our solutions happen. That's it.
Okay. Lana, what was the strongest counter argument to the solution that your team identified, and why?
Well, I think the strongest argument was Mariana's medical, because it talked a lot about how it's being done for good use and how urban sprawl would actually benefit our community.
Okay. Glenn? What is a way in which your team's resolution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. What is a way in which your team's solution, actually for you guys, solution, makes you think differently about your own research?
So for my research, I was thinking about futuristic, and for that, I was just thinking about all the things we can bring to Lake Nona and all the stuff that we can do in the future. But I never took into account like what we were talking about some of the problems we addressed about how it'll be too compact and too just too many things would be into Lake Nona from the environmental perspective, and so that changed that.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Describe how the content of your team presentation was changed as a result of your discussions with each other.
Well, at the beginning of our project, we basically wrote our entire presentation about like our lenses, and we separated into different slides based on our lenses. But after we met and we like discussed and we looked at the rubric, we realized that we weren't actually supposed to do that. So we had to change up the entire presentation and focus more on the solutions than the actual lenses.
Okay, thank you. Alejandro. What's an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' reports that you decided to not keep in your presentation, and why?
When Mikhail was talking about scientific, he was talking a lot about some of the environmental issues that I didn't believe were correct, economically wise. So I didn't use his. I didn't agree with his paper in that sort of the part. There was later on in his paper where I did agree with, but in that certain area that he talked about environmental impacts, I didn't believe that. He said they would negatively impact, and I said they would positively impact.
Okay. And Grace. In the future, what change would you make to your group norms, and how would you expect those changes to improve the presentation?
I would say that we would meet more and practice more, and probably address the rubric more thoroughly in the beginning than we did.
All right, cool, thank you. You guys are done, Bree.